It's been a little while since I last made a video on World of Tanks, and I just kind of want to take a couple minutes here just to explain just why that is. So, first reason is pretty much because wargaming is, like, in my opinion, I was a really sort of cynical person. There's another word I was going to use there. In fact, no, you know what? Fuck it, I don't care. I was going to be a cynical bastard about the whole thing when it came to the rebalance of the game, pretty much. What wargaming has now described as the new balance of the game. I was being a really cynical bastard about the way they were doing that, because my immediate assumption, because I always have a tendency just to expect the worst, pretty much, when it comes to just companies in general. Just because I don't know where that stems from, I just have a sort of just distrust, just in general. Now, for a long time with wargaming, I actually had a surprising amount of trust. Like after the whole, I think it was pretty much just after Foshgate, whenever like Fosh basically just made his opinions very like known about the Defender, I believe it was. I actually kind of just changed my mind a bit on Wargaming and said, like, you know what, I kind of think these guys are going to do the best that they can with the game that they have. However, when it came to the situation with the premium rounds in the game, and how Wargaming essentially sort of deflected in my eyes from rebalancing premium rounds, like, as soon as possible, and started rebalancing the entire game, I honestly viewed that as them sort of dodging the issue, like trying to work around the issue and not address it directly. I thought it was really dumb of them to basically proxy nerf, I guess is probably the best word, premium rounds instead of just nerfing them directly, because that was just a much simpler and in my eyes a much better solution. However, since Wargaming has announced their new balance, I've realized now that they're actually going for a slightly different idea than I thought they were going for. I thought they were just rebalancing premium rounds, well, indirectly, because they were afraid to nerf premium rounds. However, I've actually changed my mind a little bit on that. I think what they're doing now is they're trying to rebalance the game, and if they do it correctly, it could be great for the game. But if they do it wrong, it could kill the game. I think Wargaming is well aware of this and well aware of just how important it is that they don't mess it up. Because if they screw it up, they could potentially kill a game that's been making money for them for like 7 or 8 years at least. They're probably well aware of how important it is that they do not screw up the new balance thing that they're proposing. And I'll just go back to my cynical view initially of this whole thing. Whenever Wargaming announced they were rebalancing the HP pools and damages of standard shells, and also the health pools of just vehicles in general of the game, or in the game, sorry, I viewed it as them potentially just proposing that as like a solution to gold rounds to the community and saying, oh, do you like this solution? And then if the community said no, then they would just drop any changes to gold rounds and just leave them how they are. I honestly viewed it as them going that sort of direction when it came to gold rounds, just sort of proposing a solution, and then if it wasn't accepted immediately, then just abandon it and just never touch the issue again. But I really don't think they're doing that. I think I was being too cynical when it came to that view. Now, I never made a video on this because, honestly, the previous videos I recorded with this here were a lot more sort of, I guess, passionate is the kind way to describe it. And they were not as sort of thoughtful. They were more just me ranting about like not liking the way they were going, but that was just me being a bit of a prick, honestly. I genuinely think that Wargaming is going to try and go the best way that they can with this, and I really hope I'm not wrong. I really hope to be proved right in this instance, because it seems like they're actually prepared for the responses of the community. Like, another thought I had whenever they announced this, or whenever they sort of started going the direction of rebalancing the entire game, was, oh, this is going to destroy the economy. The economy of the game is based off of how much damage you do, and if everyone has more health, oh no. That will mean that everybody will either have way more credits than they had before, or they'll nerf the credit and come into the ground. But Wargaming has actually come out and said in the video that they posted, I think it was last week at one point, that they're going to try and keep that identical to how it is now. which I think was a really good thing for them to say, because, well, that basically killed my argument for them potentially just trying to rebalance the income and the XP earning potential of the game in general. And it's another thing with XP as well. XP is exactly the same issue. I was thinking that either people will end up making XP way faster than normal, or they will end up just nerfing XP grinding into the ground. But they've also said they're not going to do that as well. So both of my main points in my previous recordings of this, which I'm never going to release because they were just crap, honestly. And yeah, I can't really think of any big opposition to this now, providing that they actually follow through and do it. I think it could actually be really good for the game. However, if they screw it up, they're well aware that it could potentially kill a game which has been running for as long as it has. Like, I mean, 2011 was back when I started playing, and that's not even the beginning of the game. I think it actually started beta testing and alpha testing back in 2010. So yeah, this game, I really doubt they want to go through the process of potentially killing their game. And I've actually got a funny feeling as well that when they introduced the new balancing to like a test server, to like an official test server, not the sandbox, I have a feeling they'll turn around and say this is WoT It 2.0. Because I think that would be a really, really good time to introduce that. So just to finish off this video, I just want to clarify, like, I essentially stopped playing the game for about 6 months because I just lost the will to play it. I just didn't really see the point in playing a game whenever at least in my impression of things, like a game that wasn't really going anywhere and a game that wasn't making the changes that I wanted to see. And that's genuinely what happened. Like, I just saw the changes weren't really happening, and I just saw that like wargaming just seemed to be sitting on their hands when it came to the whole thing with premium rounds, and it just pissed me off to the point where I just walked away. But when it comes to the anonymizer was actually the thing which I saw a video on, and I just saw it pop up in my on my YouTube homepage, and I just saw the anonymizer and just went, what the hell is that? I've never heard of this thing. And I clicked on the video for it and just watched the video on it, and I was just like, huh, that basically kills XBM. And that was the thing that made me realize I probably just jumped to conclusions with some of my thoughts. But then I also looked at the changes to HE they were considering on the sandbox, and that kind of split my sort of opinion on wargaming, because I was just like, they're willing to add the anonymizer to the game, but at the same time they're basically going to kill HE shells. What are they doing? And then whenever they released this video last week, the video I'm linking in the description, that made me realize I was looking at things from the wrong perspective. I was thinking they were just essentially just screwing around, making something that people wouldn't like, so that they could say that premium rounds don't need to be changed because the community rejected our planned changes. I thought they were just trying to do some sort of shady shit like that, but yeah, that was just me being cynical, as I said earlier. So yeah, I do regret doing that, honestly. I do regret being so cynical about it, but at the same time, I really wish Wargaming implemented the original version of the premium ammunition nerfs onto the live server, because those came out like those changes were released about, I think that's about a year ago now, where they just nerfed premium rounds alpha damage, and just that was it. It was just such a simple, quick solution. It seems so easy and so easy to implement into the game, and they just didn't implement it. And if they had have implemented that, I would have never walked away from the game, because at least they'd done something to curb the toxicity. And the reason I'll come back to it is because they have done something to curb the toxicity in the form of the anonymizer. Like the anonymizer and that video I spotted last week, both of them put together are the things which essentially changed my perspective a bit, and it's the reason I'm going to try and make content on the game again. Although don't know how well YouTube will rate this, because YouTube typically hits channels like a ton of bricks whenever they don't upload consistently, and not uploading for 6 months strikes me as something that probably will not like. But you never know unless you try it.